So, the House of by Kilian. Kilian Hennessy, owned by Estee Lauder, is one of my favorite niche houses, and I discovered it back in 2012, and I immediately fell in love with the collection of fragrances. And they tend to focus on a lot of delicious fragrances, like a lot of the fragrances, not all, a lot, seem to be very, very delicious for me. Gourmands in different directions. And I really love wearing them. And I love gourmands, sweet fragrances, anything that smells delicious, I'm there. So I've got 6 of them here, but this is a top 5. So I'm going to put one as an honorable mention of the most delicious fragrances from the House of by Kilian. So if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time tuning into the channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So the first time I discovered Kilian was back in 2012. I felt like a kid in a candy store, and I discovered these collection of fragrances and I was, going gaga over them. That was at a time before Kilian, or by Kilian, got sold to the parent company of Estee Lauder. Now, by Kilian, or Kilian Hennessy, is part of the Hennessy family, which is owned by LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. I think he's the grandson of Kilian, the Hennessy family. So he has his own collection of fragrances, and I'm surprised he didn't go with LVMH to own the brand, but I guess I could see that because just the whole fact that there's this whole big relationship with the Hennessy's and the LVMH that Kilian Hennessy has gone with Estee Lauder to represent his brand. But anyway, I find a lot of their fragrances very delicious, and recently I took a friend, a fragrance newbie, to Saks Fifth Avenue here in San Francisco, and he was like really impressed with the quality of the fragrances with this house, and it kind of got me thinking I should do a top 5 delicious fragrances video from this house, and it kind of also brought back memories of the first time I sampled them, going back to 2012. So here we go. We'll start with my number 6, which is an honorable mention, and this is probably the first one that I bought from this house. It's delicious in a way that it's boozy, and it also has this fruity, like dried fruity notes of perhaps things like stone fruit, peaches, apricots, and just those kind of fruits in the experience, the wearing experience of the fragrance. But it's very, very boozy, and there's also lots of patchouli. So if you've heard what I've said so far, you probably know what I'm talking about, and you're right, it's straight to heaven. And the reason I find this one to be delicious, and it's an honorable mention, is because it's not so gourmand for me because of that patchouli and the woody notes, but those fruity notes and the booziness of the rum in here I find to be very, very delicious. And this one actually, even though it can come off very intense, I do have the extreme, but as a fragrance on its own, I feel like it's not overly strong. It's not a beefy fragrance. It's not like really like what do you call it, dense. There's no denseness to it. The extreme does have that, but wear this in the summertime when it's warm outside and just see how beautifully delicious it becomes. The boozy notes and the rummy boozy notes, and of course the dried fruity notes along with vanilla, which I forgot to mention is in here as well, just becomes so, so delicious. Like it just kind of like becomes warm and gooey and delicious. It just sweetens up because when I wear it when it's cool outside and my body heat doesn't, I don't get a lot of body heat, it's a colder fragrance. But just imagine your body heating up and those fruity notes and the booziness and the vanilla kind of like cooking and just coming alive. Anyway, that's straight to heaven at number 60, honorable mention. The next one is probably a fragrance I fell in love with 1 or 2 years after I started appreciating this house by Kilian, and they launched it in a trio of fragrances focusing on addictions. They had cannabis, smoke for the soul. They had light my fire, which I think was a tobacco, I believe it is, and then intoxicated, which focused on coffee. And this is intoxicated at number 5. I find it to be very, very delicious. It's also a cardamom bomb. If you like cardamom, it's delicious. There's coffee in here. There's nutmeg nutmeg, and there's a little bit of cinnamon, and it does hint at Amen, the original Amen, going back to the first days of Amen or Angel Men, minus that patchouli that's present in Amen. This one doesn't. I don't get patchouli in here, although maybe it might be traces of it under there. They don't credit it, but boy, this is delicious. If you like cardamom and you like the combo of Middle Eastern cardamom and coffee, try this one. It's really, really intoxicating, as the name suggests, intoxicated, and it's really, really delicious. But you gotta love cardamom, that aromatic, spicy cardamom smell, and the coffee together. Very, very delicious stuff. Intoxicated. Check it out if you don't know it. This next one is their latest offering in the red bottle from by Kilian, called Rolling in Love. This one right here. And what's this one all about? This one actually, before I tell you what it's about, I first smelled it. I was like, whoa, what is that? It smells a little different. It also smells a little odd, but then it's also smelling very, very delicious. Really, really delicious. And the more I wear it, the more I really fell in love with it. But this one's all about almonds. There's iris. There's a little bit of honeysuckle, a little bit of tuberose, and then there's tonka beans. And tonka beans and almonds I find really complement one another. Of course, they also throw in vanilla, because this one definitely needs vanilla to sweeten it up a little bit. And then there's musk and ambrette. Ambrette is something that I really, really love in fragrances. It's a all-natural note that is used to create musk chords or musky fragrances, and it's all in here. It also prolongs the life of a fragrance that you're wearing when you wear a fragrance with ambrette. I believe that the muskiness just extends the life from the ambrette. But this one actually has become a top fragrance for me, and that's why it's at number 4. I just love the way it smells. It's delicious. It does smell a little bit like something caramelly, with almonds, maybe an almond liqueur perhaps, not so much boozy, an almond pastry without a lot of the dough. So it has an almondy touch, and it does hint a little bit at Guerlain fragrances to me, just because Guerlain uses a lot of almonds and tonka beans, and it hints at a little bit of something Guerlain-esque. But not quite, but just hinting at it. And I love that beautiful red bottle, as you can see. So if you like the idea of almonds with iris, honeysuckle, tuberose, it is floral, and I feel like this one kind of can come off a bit feminine if you're a man, but give it a try if you like almonds. And if you like fragrances like L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum with that almonds in there, and then of course that has cherry as well, you might actually like this one. So give it a try. This is Rolling in Love from the House of by Kilian at number 4. Now this next one I did a video about recently, and I did a video about it because I read an article that it's apparently Rihanna's favorite fragrance, so I decided to do that video back in the summertime, along with the fresh version of this one, which I believe was a limited edition. But Love Don't Be Shy. Love is a very, very delicious fragrance. It does remind me of Middle Eastern desserts using orange blossom, especially this ice cream that has orange blossom mixed in it, which I find very, very delicious. In the Middle East, you can pick up orange blossom water, which is edible, and you can kind of mix it in with your vanilla ice cream. It's really, really yummy. So that's what this reminds me of. But this one has notes of vanilla, caramel, marshmallows, orange blossom. It has neroli, it has jasmine and honeysuckle to make one delicious, delicious fragrance. You gotta love orange blossom though, and you gotta love sweet fragrances, because this is a sickly sweet fragrance, perfect for winter time, and I love the way that smells in the winter time, and absolutely love wearing this one. Just, it's a real delicious fragrance, but you gotta love that combo of the orange blossom mixed in with sugary, caramelly, notes. It's very, very delicious. I'm saying it again because it is, but it's also very, very sweet. And this is the kind of stuff you wear in the cold. When it's really, really cold outside, the sugary, the sickly sweetness of this fragrance, and I warn you, it is very, very sweet, just cuts through that cold and just lingers on and on and on. That's what I love about it. And I love the fact that it's the combination of like vanillic notes with orange blossom, which is hardly ever done in perfumery. And this is the very first one that I had smelled back in 2012, because I believe it was already launched by then, and I had bought some one of the little not refills, but the little atomizer sets, but I wanted to own a full bottle of it, so I have a full bottle. It smells really, 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 really delicious, and this is Love from the House of by Kilian. So 2 more delicious fragrances left from this house, and number 2 is from I think one of their original fragrances, and I heard that this was named after the famous Amy Winehouse album of you know, that she released before she passed away or died or whatever, called Back to Black, and this is called Back to Black. And boy, this is like a true honey fragrance to me. It smells really, really delicious. But you know what? You've got honey here. You've got lots of tobacco. You can pick it up. But it's sort of like a very lightly dirty tobacco, like very lightly ashy tobacco. It is ashy. It's the dirty kind, but it's lightly. It doesn't like overwhelm. Like it's not overly dirty, because everything I find in here, it smells very angelic and pure to me. I find lots of cherry, and there's some fruity notes of raspberry as well, mixed in with vanilla. Really, really yummy. But then you also have a little bit of almondy touches coming in, because almonds, honey all go together. Gingerbread, maybe, perhaps Tonka. Slight touches of nutmeg, and a little bit of amber thrown in. A beautiful concoction. In my book, this is my number 1 favorite honey fragrance, because it really does smell like a really, really pure, delicious, light and aromatic smelling or floral smelling honey that you can buy like at the high-end stores where they make these like beautiful honeys. Well, they don't make it, but you know, like the bees make it with like certain flowers, the lighter ones, especially like orange blossom or lavender. It just really reminds me of that kind of honey. So if you like honey and fragrances, this one's definitely a good one to try. I have heard from people it does get a bit musky on them, and I do find that as well. It doesn't get animalic on me. It just gets gourmand, but you might want to test before you try. That's the only unfortunate part about this one. But if you like the idea of honey, this is probably the number 1 honey fragrance out there. And this is number 2, Back to Black, from the House of by Kilian. So can you guess my number 1? I'm assuming you might know. I've done a video about this one. But let me know what your thoughts are, or if you know which one I'm going to be landing at number 1. But number 1 is Black Phantom, this one right here. You know what? It was a tie between Black Phantom and Back to Black, but in the end Black Phantom won. And I find Black Phantom to be a really, really yummy concoction, like ultra yummy. It has lots of chocolate, there's boozy touches of rum, there's caramel, there's coffee, there's sugar, there's almonds, lots of nuttiness. It's just a beautiful concoction, very, very nice, and it's sweet for sure. It's also coffee, it's also booze, so it's like chocolate, all the gourmands thrown in to create this one beautiful and delicious concoction that I really, really love to wear. I find this one not as sweet as Love Don't Be Shy, but still it's sweet. And Back to Black also is quite sweet, but not as sweet as Love Don't Be Shy as well. But totally an absolute delicious fragrance. It's a gem of a fragrance, and I love wearing it. It's just taking all my, you know, things that I really love to eat and consume, like chocolate and rum and caramel and coffee and all that good stuff, thrown into a fragrance, and it smells great. You know, it also reminds me of Irish coffee or Irish whiskey, if you've ever had something like that. Just the combination of the notes all intertwined come off like that to me. But anyway, Black Phantom is my number 1 favorite by Kilian fragrance when it comes to their delicious fragrances. So there you have it. Those are my favorite delicious fragrances from the House of by Kilian. Are you a fan of this house? Do you know anything about this house? And if you are a fan, what are your favorite fragrances from this house? Also, did you know that they're part of Estee Lauder umbrella, who is also owns Tom Ford and Joe Malone and a bunch of other brands? If you didn't know, let me know. Or now that you know, what do you think about that and the fact that Kilian Hennessy is part of the Hennessy family, who is owned by LVMH, and the fact that he's gone with Estee Lauder as a parent company. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like to... Oh, one more thing. If you want to watch any of my past by Kilian themed videos, I will have a link in the info box you can click to watch as well. Especially one of my recent ones I did for the fragrance Love, comparing it to the fresh version that they came out with as a limited edition. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.